Hello, welcome. Today we're going to talk about A/B testing and multivariate testing. It's a very common mistake to switch these two up. People are using A/B testing in contexts where it does not exist and are unfamiliar with multivariate testing. Each has their own purpose, so today I'm going to explain you a bit how to use each one and when to choose which one. Let's dive right in. First things first, A/B testing, also called split testing, is testing two or more variants on different audiences. Very important. You're not using A/B tests on the same audience. The goal is to see which one, either the A version or the B version, is performing better at achieving a certain goal. This is by definition not a multivariate test because there's only one variable, so it's a univariate test. The other one we're talking about today is a multivariate test. And in this case, we're testing two or more variants, meaning not just text or not just a button. We're testing different things. Yeah? So they're a lot different in multivariate testing. The creatives are a lot different, while in A/B testing, they're very alike and we're only changing one element at a time. Here's an example. So on the left side with A/B testing, we only change the button color, but then on the right side, we have a multivariate test because we're changing the color of the button and also text and no text. So two variables, multivariate testing. There are some very common mistakes, and the first one is to test without a goal. How can you choose a winner within your test without determining beforehand what you're testing on? So you want to choose a very clear metric and also a hypothetical winner, because if you don't pick a winner, you're not really able to phrase well what exactly you learned. So you want to test. You never want to test without a goal. First off, you're gonna choose what you'll be judging the ads on. So in this case, we call that a metric. It could be CTR, conversion rate, or anything else, but I'll dive into that later. Secondly, you want to find out what value of this metric you are expecting. Are you expecting 1% CTR or 5%? And then also choose the ad that you think is going to be the winner and why, because you want to get the learning very clear beforehand. You want to know what you want to learn. You never want to learn afterwards. You want to do it on purpose. Then the third one, you have to run the test until you have significant difference. So that means statistically significant. I'll get into that later on as well. I'll explain you a bit how that works. And then lastly, you want to be able to report to the stakeholders about what you tested and then propose a next test to make sure you have continuous learning, so you constantly improve. And very important with your tests and the winners is to make them actionable. You learned X, now we're going to do Y. The second common mistake is comparing the wrong metrics. So you don't want to compare apples and pears, obviously. You want one metric that is good to judge both creatives on. To make it a lot easier for you, it's good to think about which metric do I not at all care about. Let's say you're running a conversion campaign, then you don't want to judge the campaigns on CTR. CTR can be an indicator of a higher conversion rate, but not necessarily. So you want to judge the ads on conversion rate, or maybe even, if relevant, on the cost per acquisition, so the cost per conversion. The third common mistake is testing the ads on the same audience. Okay, in statistics, you always want to prevent audience overlap. Now, why is that? Because you want to isolate cause and effect. If you're showing two versions to the same audience at the same time, the only difference is or should be the one version they see. If you push an A/B test or a multivariate test on the same audience, you're getting sort of logic. You're adding a logic, you're adding seasonality, you're adding a storyline. Those are all factors you don't really want. You want the test to be as pure as possible, which is why you always split the audience. Some platforms like Meta, for example, they allow you to split it by default. So if the function is there on the platform you're advertising on, use it to your advantage and make sure you get clean tests. Most of the times you want to split the audiences 50-50. Depends a bit on how risky the test is. If you're not sure how it's going to work, then you also might do 80-20, but always make sure your sample size is large enough. Fourth common mistake is concluding without significance. Yeah. So when you're doing, excuse me, when you're doing a test, it's really important to take in mind or keep in mind the sample size. Okay. And I'll give you a very clear example of that. Let's say you wake up as a baby, you've never lived on Earth before, but the first 5 days you wake up, it's raining outside. What does that mean? Does that mean it's raining forever? Because right now it's 100% of the time it's raining. Obviously, that's not the case. So you don't want the sample size of 5 days. You want the sample size of 365 days, or maybe 2 years or 3 years. And then you can get a much better conclusion. So make sure you never jump to a conclusion here. Make sure you have enough impressions, you have enough actions to judge your choices on. If you do not, you will make mistakes that can be very, very costly in the future. So don't settle for 1,000 impressions, maybe settle for 10,000. But most of all, do the calculations. This is really interesting. It's really important. So deep dive into this for sure. We might make some videos about this in the future as well to help you with it. The fifth goal is picking the wrong test. Okay, both A/B testing and multivariate testing have a purpose. So it's very important that you pick the right one at the right time. Why is it important? It changes the math, okay? You need different sample sizes for both. If you are very low on budget, you probably can't do multivariate testing. Then it would be better to pick A/B test and make sure you learn one thing with significance that you can make actionable and take away for the future than trying to do a multivariate test and then have no results that you can trust, okay? This is really important also because the more variations you add, so the more elements you're testing in your multivariate tests, the harder it becomes to have significant results. Yeah, it goes exponentially like this. Let's say you add 5 different variants, you will have more than 25 combinations. So it's really important. By the way, a pregnancy test is an A/B test. There's only one variable being tested. It's either you're pregnant or you're not. So which one should you pick and when? You have to pick A/B test if you want to know if one certain element can get you better performance. Okay. It's also interesting if you're already very advanced in creatives or in your ad designs or in your copywriting, when you've already tested a lot of different formats and if you are okay with small incremental results. Very rarely will an A/B test make a very big difference to your end results. Most of the time, the big differences come from multivariate testing. Because you're very different, then you can also expect very different results. The button color, it can improve your result maybe with 0.1%, but it won't be 4%. And then also pick A/B testing if you are low on traffic or low on results, low on budget. If you're keeping it small, A/B testing will allow you to learn something that you can be certain of, which won't be the case with multivariate testing. When should you pick multivariate testing? Yeah, if you're new, if you only just launched your ad account, you don't really know what's working, then try as many different things as possible. Don't just make one ad 10 times with different colors. No, make completely different ads. Try video, try carousel, try anything you like. Make it as different as possible before you get into A/B testing. It's also interesting to pick multivariate when you haven't experimented a lot, or if you're looking for the golden nugget, if you need a big boost, then an A/B test probably won't do the deal, then go for multivariate testing. And also if you want results that are very different from today. So the more variables you change, the bigger the odds are of finding something that is really, really good. Multivariate testing is very interesting if you have a lot of traffic, a lot of budget, or are generating a lot of impressions. Then the sixth one is not taking action on the results. Okay, one very important thing is that you try to get the learning very clear, that you share it with all other people that might have benefits from it, and then make it actionable. Make sure you use the learning. The most costly mistake is not doing anything with what you've learned. And there's a certain framework you can use. This is what we, more or less what we use when we're reporting A/B tests or multivariate tests. We give it a title. It's in a slide deck as well. They're all in a slide deck and in an Excel file. So it's really clear. and we can easily find what we need, the learnings we need. First off, we start by mentioning the objective. So what is the exact objective? What do we want to do? Then what do we think will perform best? So let's say I think version A will perform better because of XYZ. Then I have something very clear to test. Then you run the test, obviously. You estimate the impact. How big do you think the change will be? Because sometimes it's so small, it doesn't really matter. Then what is the actual impact and what are the next steps? So with those next steps, we make it very actionable. We propose a new test, a new baseline, and implementations we could do. We also show variant 1, variant 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 until the hundreds, and then put the winner next to it. So it's very clear for someone who hasn't run the test to see, okay, this version works better and we want it to achieve X, Y, Z, that works. And also the certainty level. So when you're in statistics, you always want to put a number on how certain you are this is the better version. And obviously, the more certain you want to be, the bigger your sample size needs, the more proof you need to show that it's really the truth. And then in the end, we also put the results there. Just a short recap. We saw version A works better because of XYZ, and it helped us with X%. This is how we approach it. All right, this was a quick intro to multivariate and A/B testing. Please remember, A/B testing is testing one variable, while multivariate testing is testing more than one variable. If you have any questions, let us know. If you find this interesting, please like and subscribe. Thank you.